How's it going, everybody? I'm Drifty from Driftwood Gaming, and we're going to be playing a game today. They're still working on it, improving the game. They want feedback. There's still some bugs, and there's definitely some balancing issues. This is Nadir, a Grimdark deck builder. It is developed by Team Nadir, published by Black Eye Games. It's available on Steam and GOG for PC. It is a roguelike boss rush deck building game. The cost to play a card is an enemy's reaction that you can predict. Craft your own cards to slay powerful demons, gather resources, expand your city, grow in power, and conquer the underworld. So this game just came out today, and we're gonna give it a shot. Let's quickly take a look at the options. There are not many options here. You can change some of the button layout, you can change your resolution, basic volume setup, but that's basically it. You can take a look at the roadmap and socials here in the game if you wanted. We're gonna prepare expedition and start a game. So it remembers where I was in my single player campaign. I haven't done very much at all. I've played maybe an hour and I've had to restart multiple times. As we progress, we get currency and we unlock buildings. So we're gonna select a character, and the only one we have to start with is Pride Jean. So we're gonna select Jean and confirm and take a look at the gameplay. So we have to pick our adversary. The only one we can pick from right now is Beelzebub, so we'll depart, selecting Beelzebub. So this is how it works. We're descending through the depths of hell, and we have like this first outer rung, and then after we do the things on this one, we proceed to go deeper, and then we can interact with the things in the middle. If I try to click in the middle, it doesn't let me do that. I wish the game wouldn't play sound effects every time I hover over them, because it becomes quite distracting, especially if you go into another menu. You'll notice that like hovering over your cards has their own little sound effects, but it still plays the sound effects from the rings, like all of these, even though menus pop up. So it seems like just a day one bug that can probably be fixed. Anyway, in order to do anything on the first rung or any of them, you have to do a combat. So let's jump into combat. The game is still, freshly released, and there's some balancing issues that they mentioned, so it's not indicative of the product you'll play later on, but it'll give you a good idea of what to expect. So you've got these double-sided cards, and you can play them if they match. Like right here, the enemy's got 2 reds and a blue. You can see that. So in order for me to play this card that shows 2 blues, the enemy has to have 2 blues available here. And in order to get 2 blues, you flip a red, and a red turns blue and the blue turns red, back and forth. So because they have 1 blue, I can play this slash ability, but they have 2 reds, so I can play this block, this double slash, or this block. And every time I play one of these cards, it's gonna add a point to these little holes here. And when all of them are filled, the enemy will execute that command. So it's turn-based in a way, but you can predict what the enemy is going to do, so that gives you the ability to set up your strategy. Over here is your character, and this is the thing you're fighting. You've got your options over here. This is your draw pile. This is your HP and your shield, and this shows you your basic strength. There are several status effects that can come into play, and if you want to see what they do, you kind of just hover over them. For example, here we have shielded 2, and it'll tell you that it prevents all incoming damage from the next attack, except from breaking attacks. Anytime you see one of those, you can hover over and get information on what it does. You can at any time click on this little redraw, and it'll redraw your cards, but every time you do that, things will happen. So if I click redraw, I get different cards, but it will give a shield to the Blight Maggot, and it will do whatever is written over here to me. In order to gain something here, I would imagine you need a character that has something that comes when you redraw, or maybe cards will allow you to have something upon redraw. The default starter deck is pretty weak. It has basic slashes and attacks and blocks, and you can craft your deck as you progress, but when you die or retreat back to town, all of the changes you've made to your deck are gone, unfortunately. So let's go ahead and get started now that we've got an idea of what we're looking at. I'm going to start off by just trying to deal 35 damage to this Blight Maggot as fast as possible, so I'm going to slash. You can see as I slashed him, it added a little notch in here, and if I were to slash him again, he's going to apply a shield. So let's do that. I'm going to use another slash on him. He gets 1 shield, and the status effect is down here. And you can see the next time I hit him, it's going to block that damage. So what I'll do now is I'll double slash, and this is going to deal 3 damage twice, but it's only going to block the first one. So we'll do that combination. And you can choose where to put that move. If it only has 1 card, it only applies 1 notch. If it has 2, then it'll apply 2, but you do get to pick where that goes. So I'm going to try to do wide slash, and I'm going to put it right here. And you can see the little dots blinking over these 2 cards. If I put it here, it'll be these 2 cards, and he will follow up with activating this card. So I'm going to do this so he doesn't get a turn. And then I'm going to try to finish him off right here with this one. So there we go. He didn't get a chance to do anything, and we... well, he didn't get a chance to do much, and we beat him. It was a pretty easy fight. At the end of the fight, we get spoils, soul shards, filth, and cards. Now, actually, you get to pick 2 abilities, and the abilities can be used to craft cards. So it should have actually been called abilities, but that's fine. In order to craft a new card, you have to have a matching cost. Like, it has to be 1 and 1, or 2 and 2, or 3 and 3. But you can just grab any of these abilities and craft cards later on. So I'm going to grab this Master Slash, and then I'm going to grab Valor. And since they're 3 and 3, I can craft a new card. So I'm on this first rung, and I do have the ability to change my deck after doing a combat. So I'm going to do that. I'll show you that ability. You have to have at least 6 cards in your deck at any time. So I'm going to create a new card. I'm going to put the Master Slash I just got and the Valor in here, and I will create that new card. All right, we'll go back, and I'm going to remove or dismantle one of these lower costing cards. And you can still hear the sound effects playing from the depths of hell rungs underneath, so they need to remove that because it's quite annoying. So let's dismantle this. We have 6 cards in our deck, and that will do it. So we'll be able to proceed. In order to proceed, we click and hold on advance, and it pushes us down to the next level. Every now and then you'll see an elite combat, and unless you've done some significant changes or upgrading to your character, you're not really going to be able to win. It seems maybe I just got a really hard boss when I fought him, but the elite boss completely destroyed me. Here is the lump of flesh. He looks really weird looking. Most of the creatures in this game look really weird looking. And we'll try to beat him. He's got 20 armor and 35 health. A general strategy of what I like to do is try to get as many points on these without actually triggering them. Of course, we're going to have to let him do a few moves. I want to try to not let him do as many things as possible. So we got Master Slash, but we need 3 blue, so we're going to need to trigger these 2 things in order to get 3 blue up. So I think I'm going to try to do that. He's going to try to hit really, really hard. I think a shield would be really good to have if I can get some kind of shielding. I do have cards that will do that. I would like to block that 24 before we trigger it. Yeah, I think we'll trigger it so that we can get Master Slash and really put some hurt on him. We're going to take a lot of damage, but we do have shield, so that's fine. Here we go, 18 damage, and this will finish him off. Let's get our rewards and our cards. I'll take another Master Slash and Valor, sure. That seems like a good idea. Now, you'll get these soul shards, but what I've noticed is when you die or you retreat back to town, the soul shards don't go with you. But you do keep the filth if you retreat, and if you die, you get half of it. You'll keep half of that reward. We're gonna do the same thing, except instead of creating new card, I'm just gonna click edit on one of these slashes, and I'm going to remove this and put in, I have to remove both because I can't add 3 if there's a 1 cost, so I'm gonna add a 3 and another 3. We'll create that card. Unfortunately, all of this part is kind of time consuming, and when you die or retreat, which you do a lot, they all go away. I kind of wish that didn't happen. I wish that you'd be able to keep a few or some, or I don't know, maybe they had a hard time balancing it if they allowed that to happen, but it does feel like I'm losing progress when I retreat or I die, and I want to see progress. I would like to see more progression. So we have a shop, a combat, and a deck change, but we'd have to do the combat before we can do the other 2 things. Now we're fighting against the Gutter Devil. Alright, so I like to use Master Slash, does a lot of damage, so I'm going to try to use my reds and just give him a couple shields. Well, the problem with this is the shielding is going to stop the damage. So I need something that's going to hit multiple times for a weaker amount. In this case, I'm going to do shielding on us. All we can do here is block. That's all we have. So unfortunately, he's going to get shield and breaking damage on us. He's going to play both of these abilities. And the fact that he's going to get 2 shield is going to really suck for using Master Slash. All right, we got a shield, so we'll take this 20 damage here. And that'll be absorbed by our shield. Now we can hit him for 7, and that will take 1 of his shields. All right, we're gonna do some Valor, which gives us more rage. That's gonna increase the damage on all of our moves. We're actually dealing less damage because we've been weakened, but the Valor is making up for that. We have a lot of damage incoming. I'm gonna put up some shield. I really wish there was more options at the beginning of the game to build your deck. You only get 12 abilities and 6 cards to play from, and it's always the same when you retreat or when you die. You do unlock other characters as you progress farther, and I know this game is inspired by Slay the Spire, but in Slay the Spire you had tons of cards and tons of abilities and multiple characters, which gave you lots of different ways to play. Right now, especially at the beginning, there's really only one way to play. You can't really do too much customization yet. So he has no more shield, and I've got a couple of Master Slashes. If I could only get rid of this 1 red, but the way that I've built my deck without any 1 costs, it pretty much limits me from what I can get away with. The Rust ability is breaking down my armor. Yeah, putting these so many 3 costs in my decks really hindered me. We'll learn 4 next time. The problem is right when I'm able to use Master Slash, he gets shields up. And that literally blocks all of the damage. So there's 1 of his shields. There's the other shield. And then we'll be able to Master Slash and win, but just barely. That was pretty rough combat. I think I did a bad job of putting my deck together, and that's on me. We got some Soul Shards, some Filth, and another ability. It really doesn't matter because I'm so beat up I'm gonna have to retreat. I'll take this 1 costing card, and then I guess I'll take this 2 costing down here. But I'm not gonna be able to keep those, so unfortunately, when I return, it doesn't really matter. So I'm gonna click on return. I'll be able to keep 20 of these Filths, so we'll say yes. We do keep some of our resources, but we lost all of our Soul Shards. What you'll do with those Soul Shards is you'll find shops on certain rings, and you'll be able to buy abilities. But once again, it feels kind of arbitrary because you don't get to keep those. I imagine later on, if you just get better at the game, I understand, maybe the game gets balanced a little bit better and more abilities are added and more starting options are available and you have more combo possibilities. I feel like there's definitely room for this to be really fun and exciting. It definitely doesn't do what Slay the Spire does for me personally, but I think there's something interesting to the whole theming of this. And once you unlock more buildings, you'll have more options with what you can do. It's really hard at the beginning. That's what I will say, and I take away from this is it's really, really difficult at the beginning of the game. So let's try one more time. Maybe I did a really, really bad job, and we'll have better luck this time. So let's just go straight into combat. Let's see if I can find the luck here. We got attacked by the Blight Maggot again. I think it is random what enemies you will get. I'm gonna try to maybe just go full attack, just do as much damage as possible, as fast as possible. At the beginning, your deck is always the same. It's got basic armor, basic attacks, and really not much that you can modify at all. I would really love to see some sort of modifiers that change the game up. It's very samey as you go through each time. Let's go with the 1-costers and the 2-costers. No, let's go 2-2 so we can add that card and replace something. All right, so we'll go into the deck change real quick, craft a new card. Let's put the finesse here, the outflank here, and we'll create that card. I guess we'll get rid of 1 of the slash. Just 1 this time, not both, just 1. So we have 6 cards and we'll go back and we'll advance to the next level. The first combat went really well. Let's try this one. A lot of this is random, right? What enemies you get, what cards are drawn. So It might be easy the first time, it might be hard the first time, but from my experience, it's been hard almost every time. So I'm gonna start with adding some rage. Starting out here, I'm basically just trying to do damage, as much damage as possible. So we got this flank card from that one, which is good, because it'll let us do a lot of damage pretty cheap here. Or we can gain 10 armor. I think we'll go with gaining armor. He's almost down. I think this will work. So let's go ahead and flank him for 11 damage, finish him off. That went really well. So good first fight, good second fight. Like I said, lots of RNG in play in here. We'll take this one and redemption, sure. Here's the shop to show you what you can get. It basically shows you 6 random abilities and lets you buy them for your soul shards. You might as well spend them. You don't really get to keep them unless something else later happens that says you do. I'll take Iron Fist. That sounds good. Let's go ahead and craft then. Let's do Growing Power and Iron Fist. And we'll create that card and we'll dismantle one of these other ones that does just a shield and 8 armor. We could dismantle one of those. Now you could keep more cards. So we have to do the combat, but there is an elite combat here. I think I'll show you this fight. It might be an interesting battle. Here's an elite combat. It's like the boss battle. We're fighting Cerberus here. This is the same one I fought last time when I was playing the elite combat, and I lost. And so he kicked my butt, and we'll see if I can do better this time. I think I had better cards the first time, but maybe that's because I didn't know what I was doing. Let's start off by adding rage. I do want to increase my strength. That will add all of extra damage to all of my attacks. Early on, that seems pretty good. Shielded, that's a good thing to have, but we're gonna take 8 damage. We maybe don't want to waste it on that. But at the same time, if I put another blue in, he's gonna flip and I won't be able to play that. So let's go and do some red single attack here. We can do that again, double slash. Keep putting on some pressure. See, it damages the armor first, and then it'll damage the health unless it's a piercing attack, in which case it just skips the armor. Boost 3. After this card is played, add 3 to its final damage, after checking the calculation to strength. So I think it just adds 3 damage. I'm not sure why I wouldn't just... I guess it just means it adds 3 damage. Let's go ahead and apply a shield. I mean, we're gonna stop this card from hitting us for 8, and that's all that's gonna do. But that's fine. Now we have 2 reds to play. The outflank is really good because it gives us that flank card. So we could do that. Let's do that. And you notice that flank card didn't really add one here. Maybe it had added one here. I didn't see it add one in there. So that was really useful. Let's do double slash. Keep putting on the pressure. We have wide slash. This is going to have us taking 16 damage and giving him 15 armor. That's going to be pretty rough. Let's do one on here. Yeah, no matter what, he's going to attack us for 16 and gain 15 armor. So we might as well do wide slash and do some damage because we got to put some hurt on him. He's gaining 20 armor from that and dealing 8. His attacks and his moves are very strong. They usually do 2 very good things. So like as the battle goes on, it's hard to wear him down because he keeps getting more armor and positive buffs and applies negative buffs to us, removes our buffs and removes his debuffs. And the elite combats are super hard, and I haven't been able to win against an elite battle yet. I didn't see any difficulty settings either, so it's like the game is what it is. I like the theme and I like what they've done with it, but it is, to me, it feels like it's missing variety and difficulty options, and RNG does come into play, but not as much as some other card games that I've played. I feel very like I'm kind of trapped and in a corner, and like there's just no good options. And that's really hard to deal with at the beginning of a game. So those stealth ones, they don't actually add points, so they're really, really useful. Knowing that in the future would be very helpful. Maybe they're supposed to, I don't know, maybe not. Let's put a shield up. Maybe we'll be able to trigger this and stop that 24 damage. Let's do that. Put it here, and then we'll do this. But it does 24 2 times. Regardless, I would still like to We're probably gonna need that rage, that point of rage. So I think he'll play this one first, right? 24? No, it goes from left to right. So unfortunately, that was terrible play. It always goes left to right. That's good to know how that works. It will try to play this card, then this card, then this card, regardless of where you placed it. So that didn't work out well. I was hoping it would block 24, and then I'd hit 24 and get hit for 8, but instead it blocked the 8, and I took 48 damage. Once again, I'm going to be destroyed by the boss, and this game is really, really difficult. It is not looking too good for me here at this point. I got him about half dead. Here's another outflank. Oh, but he's gonna hit me for 16, and that's where I'm gonna die. So unfortunately, I feel like the game is too difficult. You do make progress, but it only builds your town, and like, I don't really see these doing a lot. And I've never been able to get to a point where I find any skulls, any idols, any desires, any relics. The game is a kind of brutal. It starts you with some buildings, but they don't appear to like let you do anything. It just like, this unlocks the first character. All right, well, I'm glad that there's a character you can play, right? Okay, this is one I unlocked from playing. It heals you 8 HP when you go to the next circle. Doesn't really help you too much, but it's like a lot of these things would be useful. A lot of these little things, I like the idea here. Unlocks the shop node. So this means we can find shops, all right. The Furnace of Sorrows unlocks the card crafting option, okay. Unlocks gluttony enemies. That's great, but how do we get it? How do we get any skulls? How do we get any idols? How do we get any relics? Maybe I just haven't played long enough. I've played probably a total of close to 2 hours maybe, and all I've seen is gluttony enemies that drop these soul shards and filth, and I was able to unlock one building, but that was basically it. These are the ones that are buildable here, and you can see like right here, you need to have certain buildings unlocked to unlock them, but you also need currency, and I'm unable to unlock anything else with just this one currency that I'm able to get. I mean, I see where they're going with this game, but right now I feel like it's too difficult. Hopefully it has some difficulty options, maybe some balancing. They did mention that there's some balancing issues, so if the game is balanced a little bit more, it could definitely turn around. I feel like it's too oppressive and too difficult at the moment, but when you play this, it may be completely different, right? This is day one. But that's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching me play Nadir. Thank you so much to the devs of Nadir. I think you did make a good game. It just needs some more balancing. And thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Come hang out with us on the Discord. I'd appreciate that. This is where we're chilling. Links are in the description below. We do have a Patreon if you want to back and support what we do. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Love you guys very much. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.